He likes to have things that are quietly nestled into a spot, that aren't saying, here I am, here I am. He wants it to be subtle. So you walk into a John Foote house and you just feel like you're almost at home. I mean, he just has this unbelievable gift.
His values, I think, are to walk softly on the earth, to really listen to the space he's going to create. It's not big, massive, fancy, over-the-top spaces, but it's the fine, listening to the quiet message of the space and what the people want, what they really want, and that type of thing.
He has this way of creating a relationship between the environment, the building, and the people. And I think one of the things that allows him to do that is his ability to get to know people really intimately in a very sincere way. That comes through in his work. You know, it's not just building a building, it's building a building for a particular person or family and making it a home.
His design and his beliefs, I think, will carry on. I think so many people try to copy or, do something similar to John. It's hard to capture that. His legacy, people will know Jonathan Foote, period.
I was born in London, England. My dad was a banker, and he was there monitoring German funds that the bank had loaned to Hitler. And we came back when the war began to get messy. And I went away to school when I was about 13, and I wanted to be an Olympic ski racer. So I spent 3 years there, and in the process screwed up my back, and my dreams were down the drain. My parents were very cool. They both very prim and proper. My mother was a great Anglophile, and Dad was an old Yalie, and he was an athlete. My two brothers and I were good athletes and learned about discipline from our coaches. The greatest gift I've had is my education. Eaglebrook to start with, and then Andover, and Yale, and then Yale Graduate School, and a year at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design. Of the breadth of architecture, as opposed to the narrow process of building shelters. That's what appealed to me about architecture as a thing to do. I really became obsessed about it, and still am. And that's why at 83, I still put in, I'll work 7 days a week. I took some midlife time to step away, where all I wanted to do was get away from all of the systems I'd been trained into, had grown into, had been born into, and just be a cowboy. And I'd worked on ranches for so many years. I was a pretty good hand, and got into showing cutting horses. And as Tom McGuane said, it's a disease for which there is no cure. I found pockets of really bright guys at the university, many of whom had left the Ivy League to come out and live a different life. We were always pushing a harmony between quality of the old material and the modern world, which is moving at such a rate that we barely feel it move. It's going so fast.
He's really changed the look of architecture in the West. by incorporating the old logs, the Mexican tile, making something that's new, but it's made out of old materials. I mean, he really is the one that started that, and he started a whole trend.
John's vision is a vernacular piece of architecture, something that was been there forever. His stuff is very timeless. I'm going to say that's kind of John's trademark for style. From a design standpoint, he really is so passionate about the design process. I don't care if it's a residence, I don't care if it's a commercial structure. You're creating a building or spaces that people are going to utilize over and over again, and you need to make that experience the best way you can.
What I had learned from my architectural education at Yale, it really still lives with me today. There's a way of playing modern music with ancient instruments. And that's what the architecture was all about. As I've aged, I've become more and more fascinated by that. Between my two companies, I was working on 27 projects on a daily basis and was able to handle them, or so I thought. It was clear that I couldn't take the stress of running the two companies. I decided I would step out completely after about 3 or 4 years of trying to get my right hand to work right and trying to get my confidence back. I started as an independent architect. The people involved with architecture, that was the drug. Because I love people, I love to listen to their stories. I love the idea of converting their stories into reality in building form. And that certainly was the appeal of the project with Joe Ricketts.
I wanted to make people that came here feel comfortable and to relax, to help put them into the mode of contemplation. I really felt like I needed to create an environment that was different from the environment that they came from at work or at home. I didn't want a dormitory. I wanted scattered buildings with bedrooms. I wanted the Rocky Mountain feel of rock and wood. I knew Jonathan Foote was an icon in the industry. And I had met him many, many years ago in passing and knew that he was retired. But I thought I would give him a call. We talked for several hours. I was amazed. He was a person that got it. He understood. He said right away, I want to do this.
He himself had struck me as a really intuitive thinker. He really listened to his sense of things and could build them into an idea. I think that the way he has made available a retreat where somebody from whatever their religious background can come and in 4 days rebuild, focus on, and re-strengthen their spiritual side, I think is an extraordinary gift that he has made.
Although John had retired from his firm and just been doing his own thing, I think it's very cool that Mr. Ricketts sought out John because he is kind of the leader in that rustic Western architecture with the reclaimed wood, and he was probably the best choice for them because he was probably a mentor or a inspiration for every other architect on the project.
I think it's a huge privilege and honor that John's one of those buildings. And some of the guys that have designed there are also guys that John taught at MSU. So it's kind of a neat thing to see the young people that he mentored be part of that too.
It wasn't designed to encourage interaction. That's what was really interesting, because most places you're not doing that, but John had a very good sense of what to do. The proportions of the spaces are just nailed. You don't feel overwhelmed, in the contemplation space. It has this warmth to it. Just the overall feeling, it's kind of like a home. And that's what John really wants to do, and that's what I think we pulled off.
The whole idea of a weekend of silence was really a fascinating idea. So the building really started with the contemplation space. It was a place to think, a place of silence, trying to get that sense that you're safe here. Even though there may be 8 other people in the room, you're there alone. Bayless got it immediately. He felt the same thing. And Liz picked it up like that. That was a gift. And the building just came together. One of the things that is required for this kind of work is the real love and sense of craftsmanship. And as the architect, I want to thank you for it. We're getting near the end, and it's just going to get better and better. And I really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
We did put our heart and soul in this project. Every little fabric, every piece of stone, the Bible verses that we have on pillows and engraved in the wood, on the stone, there was a purpose for everything we did. Everybody on the project took it to heart. It was a passion to fulfill the dream of Mr. Ricketts. And, walking into that lodge that first time, I was like, wow, this is bigger than me, it's bigger than us. And hopefully everybody that comes there will experience that same feeling. And I think 100 years from now, people will feel the same way.
I think taking Joe's ideas, the goals of the project, the land, the architecture, and just putting that all together to create something so beautiful. John cared so much about this project and wanting them to have the best experience they could have while they were there, so that they would get things from being in that space that they wouldn't get anywhere else. It was the most important project he had, especially in the twilight years of his career. And I know when he saw it for the first time furnished, I know he sobbed, and I know he was so pleased with it and proud of it.
The foundation of our morality on which everything else is built, it comes from the Christian Judeo value system. It's very important to our country. If we lose that, we've lost our guide, we've lost our moral anchor. And it was really quite nice for me to have an architect that understood what we were trying to achieve. And he was really, really excited about it. And I think it came out perfectly, and I'm really quite proud to have an architect of that stature be part of what we did here.
I think it probably means more to me because it came at a point in my life where I was struggling with my own spirituality. Being part of that and part of the making of it, the fact that will live for a long, long time, is really exciting to me. It's a fundamental need of human nature to have those places where you can find peace with your own soul. If that can happen to 1 out of 10 people that walk through that space, amen. I've done the best that I can do.